The moment you disappear, everything shifts. The second you vanish, the dynamic begins to change, not for you immediately, but for her. Even if she doesn't react right away, it's not because she hasn't noticed. On the first day, she barely acknowledges it, not because she's indifferent, but because she convinces herself that this is just another brief phase. She assumes you'll check in soon, that you'll cave like before, that this silence is just another one of those fleeting moments where you try to create distance. So she plays it cool. She scrolls through her feed, posts something cute, maybe even throws in a cryptic quote about self-worth or refusing to settle. But as the silence lingers, something in her starts to shift. By the second or third day, she's still holding back from texting, but now she's watching. She's opening your profile, checking your stories, looking for any sign that you're still lurking in the background, because you always were before. She's not panicking yet, but curiosity has crept in. That curiosity is the first fracture in her confidence. She starts replaying your last conversation in her mind, wondering if she said something wrong, if she pushed too far this time. Why does this silence feel different? She won't admit it, not even to herself, but your absence is beginning to occupy space in her mind, a space she never thought you'd have the strength to claim. She had always been the center, the one you fought for, the one you kept trying to work things out with, the one you always returned to no matter how much tension or distance there was. But now, something feels different. This time, you aren't reaching out. You're not liking her posts, not viewing her stories, not reacting in any way. That absence, it's not just silence, it's a statement. And the longer you hold it, the more her own thoughts begin to turn against her. Because now, an entirely new fear starts creeping in. Not the fear that you're upset, but the realization that you might be truly done. And the moment that fear takes hold, the entire situation shifts. By the third or fourth day, she's no longer just checking your profile, she's studying your energy. That's when the internal tension starts tightening its grip. Before, she could predict you. She knew the pattern. She knew when you'd break the silence, when you'd send a text, like a post, or drop a subtle, just checking in message. And every time you did, she felt reassured. She might not have replied immediately, but deep down, she felt a quiet satisfaction knowing you were still there, still orbiting around her. But this time, that moment of reassurance never arrives. There's no check-in, no trace of you waiting in the wings. The absence isn't just emotional distance anymore, it's disinterest. And that's what unsettles her most. Because she expected you to hesitate, to waver, to come back like always. Instead, you've disappeared in a way that doesn't feel forced or manipulative. It feels real, and she wasn't prepared for that. By the fifth or sixth day, something deeper starts to take root, doubt. Not just doubt in the situation, but doubt in herself. People assume that regret takes weeks or even months to set in, but that's not true when the silence is genuine. When the disconnection is real, the shift happens fast. She starts making comparisons, not out loud, not to her friends, but in the quiet moments where it matters most. She remembers how it felt to have your steady presence, how you provided emotional security without demanding anything in return. She replays the conversations, the way you listened without judgment, the way your presence was calming without trying to be. And suddenly, all the attention she's getting from other guys feels hollow. It's empty noise compared to the depth you brought. Compliments from others don't hit the same. Texts from someone new feel generic, lacking the substance she had grown used to. That's when it stops being about missing you and turns into something more unsettling, disorientation. She doesn't just long for your presence. She realizes that your absence has created a void that nothing else seems to fill. What confuses her the most is why this silence feels heavier than any argument ever did, why it lingers in ways she didn't expect. But deep down, she knows. It's because you were real. You weren't seeking validation, you weren't just another distraction, and now that you're gone, the difference is impossible to ignore. At this point, She starts doing something she never thought she would, blaming herself. She starts analyzing the exact moment things shifted, the things she said or didn't say, the signals she gave, the moments she missed where she could have shown she cared. Your silence isn't just an absence anymore. It's a mirror reflecting back to her all the choices she made, the way she took your presence for granted. And what haunts her most? The realization that you didn't stop communicating first, she did. She was the one who distanced herself, who assumed you would always be there, who believed she had unlimited chances. And now, your silence has made that reality undeniable. By the seventh day and beyond, something even more unsettling starts happening. Her entire perspective shifts. The way she once viewed you, the way she once believed she had control over the situation, all of it starts to crumble. Before, she felt like she was simply watching from a distance, keeping tabs on you while staying in her comfort zone. But now, something is different. She no longer feels like she's watching. She feels like she's on the outside looking in. The access she once had to you, emotionally, mentally, energetically, it's gone. Not reduced. Not withheld as a strategy. Completely gone. And the worst part? It's not fueled by resentment or bitterness. It's just stillness. That's what unsettles her the most. The mystery, the not knowing. She has no idea what you're thinking, whether you've truly moved on, whether she even holds a place in your life anymore. Because this version of you, the one who doesn't chase, who doesn't waver, who doesn't need her attention, this version is unfamiliar to her. And that's when the real fear sets in. Most women don't fear rejection. What they fear is being forgotten. And your silence? It doesn't just feel like distance, it feels like erasure. Like you've mentally packed up, emotionally detached, and moved forward without needing to explain a thing. That kind of control, it's rare. And ironically, it's more attractive than anything you could have said or done. She assumed silence would give her power, that ignoring you would make her feel in control. Instead, it's making her question everything. She starts wondering, did she completely misread you? Did she assume she had a hold on you when, in reality, she was just mistaking your patience for weakness? And now, all of that patience, all of that calm, all of that emotional strength, it feels like a memory slipping further away. At this point, she may never say a word. She may never send a message, never admit to anyone what she's feeling, because pride, it won't allow her to. Pride will let her suffer in silence before it ever lets her admit she was wrong. So instead, she does what people do when they don't want to confront their emotions. She distracts herself. She posts as if she's glowing, as if she's thriving. She throws out phrases like, protecting my energy, or, I'm in my soft era. She makes it look like she's unbothered. But it's all a performance. Because inside, in the moments where she can't distract herself, she's left with the one question that won't stop circling her mind. How did I let him go? And that question? It's louder than your silence ever was. Because now, she's not just haunted by who you were, she's haunted by who you've become. She's not looking at the same man she once knew. She's looking at someone who evolved in her absence, someone who outgrew the dynamic she once felt so secure in. Someone who no longer needs closure because his healing spoke for itself. And now, while she's wondering if she still has access to you, you've already moved forward, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You're unavailable in the best possible way. Because now, she's not the reason you wake up with urgency. You are. Your growth is. Your standards are. And that's the part of the story she never saw coming. She expected distance, but not detachment. She expected silence, but not peace. But now, she's witnessing something she never prepared for, what real self-worth looks like. And the most powerful part? It has nothing to prove. Because here's the truth no one talks about. She won't remember you for how quickly you replied, how many times you reached out, or how often you complimented her. She'll remember you for the moment you stopped. Not out of bitterness, not to play games, but because you reached a level of self-respect where your peace became more important than her presence. That kind of shift, It's unforgettable. She'll remember the man who didn't chase, who didn't explain himself, who didn't need to be seen to keep evolving. And that's what separates you from the rest. Because any guy can react, but very few can walk away with composure and never look back. And even fewer can stay consistent in that silence long enough for her to truly feel the weight of what she lost. Because when your presence was constant, it was easy to overlook. But now that it's gone, it lingers in ways she never expected. It shows up when she talks to someone new and the conversation feels forced. When she looks good but no longer cares about impressing anyone. When she laughs in public but feels that strange emptiness when she's alone again. Because somewhere in the quiet, she feels it. She had a choice, and she chose wrong. And now, it's not about getting you back. It's about wondering if a man like you ever truly existed, or if she only got to meet him because she didn't realize he was the lesson. But you're not bitter. You're not waiting. Because the truth is, you didn't just leave her life. You leveled up so high that the version of you she once knew can't even be reached anymore. That's the ending she never expected. And that's the peace you earned in silence. But here's the thing. This isn't just about her anymore. It's about you. About what you've built in the space where she used to be. Because silence wasn't just your weapon, it was your transformation. While she's stuck in a loop of wondering, regretting, and replaying the past, you're out there actually living. You're not waiting for validation. You're not hoping for closure. You're not looking back, because the road ahead is too full of possibilities. And that's the real power shift. You see, the ultimate win isn't proving her wrong. It's not making her regret. It's not even making her miss you. It's realizing that none of that even matters anymore. Because when you reach this level of self-respect, of peace, of purpose, her reaction to your absence is irrelevant. You don't need to be missed. You don't need to be understood. You don't need to be sought after. Because you've already won. The moment you stopped seeking external validation, the moment you chose yourself over the cycle, the moment you turned your silence into strength, was the moment you became untouchable. And that's why she'll never truly move on. Because deep down, she knows. She lost something real. And you gained everything.